What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Diesel Dog video. Working on the old pickup truck tonight. 2010 Chevy Silverado 5.3 for you guys that are new. It's got 230,000 miles on the thing. It's been a good old truck. I've had to do some lifters on it. You know, the dreaded AFM lifter had some issues a while back. Other than that, you know, some minor things here and there. Lately, I've been noticing a little bit more oil consumption than usual, and I've been noticing a little poof of smoke out the tailpipe on first startup sometimes in the morning, not all the time. Really does it kind of sporadic, but I do know that there is a updated valve cover for these things. There's some different part numbers for different years. I'm going to go over that. I've got the TSB printed out. There's a couple other things that could be on these trucks, but the easiest thing to try is the updated valve cover. There's a difference in the baffling underneath. I'm going to show you that. So we're going to pull the old one off. I've got a new replacement tonight. We're going to put that on, and then we're going to see if that takes care of my oil consumption issue. But let's go over the TSB, and I can get you a little more information here. So if you're interested, this is the TSB number here. Hopefully this comes up on camera, but instead of listing all these, you know, I'll give you a little shot there. There's a year break as far as part number for the valve cover you're going to put on, so I'm going to show you that. I'm just going to read this little tidbit and then we'll move on here. Some customers may comment about engine oil consumption of vehicles with higher mileage, 30,000 to 40,000 miles. We're way over that. And a service engine soon light being on and or rough running engine. It doesn't tell you what code might appear. It just says check engine light on. Customer understands that some oil consumption is normal and still feels the consumption level is excessive. More than 1 quart per 2,000 to 3,000 miles of driving. Perform the service indicated in this bulletin. It is no longer necessary to have the customer return multiple times to have the usage verified. Cause: this condition may be caused by 2 conditions: oil pulled through the PCV system or oil spray that is discharged from the AFM pressure relief valve within the crankcase. Under most driving conditions and drive cycles, the discharged oil does not cause a problem. Under certain drive cycles, extended high engine speed operation in combination with parts at high end of their tolerance specification, the oil spray quantity may be more than usual, resulting in excessive deposit formation in the piston ring grooves, causing increased oil consumption and cracked or fouled spark plugs. Number 1 and number 7, refer to latest version of corporate bulletin, blah, blah, blah. So basically this is going to bring you all the way up to models built prior to February 1st, 2011. If you've got one of these trucks and it's built after February 1st, 2011, chances are you have the updated valve cover already. Here's a little picture. We're going to be able to see this when we get all this stuff off, but you can see the baffling hole there, and this is the updated baffling hole. And just real quick, there's a whole nother like paragraph here, but I will just tell you that 2007 and 2008, you're going to use part number 12570427. For vehicles 2009 to 2011, you're going to be using 12642655, and that's the one we have because we have a 2010. So I went on Amazon and I found a replacement. I would recommend going with the GM valve cover replacement, but we're balling on a budget around here, so I got one off Amazon, had decent reviews, so went ahead and ordered that. I'll leave the link down in the description for the one I used. Second issue. Part of this DSB is explaining how to free up seized piston rings that you might have. Now, this specifies if vehicle is built outside of this breakpoint, it should already be equipped with this AFM shield. There's an AFM shield they recommend putting in for that relief valve they were talking about. This says built before July 7th, 2009. There's a shield that you can put in to block the oil from excessively pulling up like it's talking about. And then it's also talking about seized piston rings, freeing those up. This basically says there's a process of pulling the spark plugs out, putting this cleaner in there, GM cleaner 88861803, GM cylinder cleaner, whatever. You got to pull a spark plug, squirt it in there, let it sit for 2.5 to 3 hours, it says. No more than 3 hours. And then crank the engine with the spark plug out to get all that fluid out of there, and then run it, and that should free up your piston rings if they're seized up at all. If you're curious, here's that valve they're talking about. Looks like it's going to be in the oil pan, though. So you got to pull the oil pan, which is never fun. And then there's some shield you got to put in there. That's supposed to help all that. But really tonight, we're just worried about the valve cover. And I think that's probably going to help at least. You know, we got a higher mileage engine, and anytime you got a little bit higher mileage engine, you're going to be experiencing a little more oil consumption anyways. But might as well replace this because I've got leaking valve cover gaskets anyways. I would want a gasket kit to replace them. So I'm pulling the valve cover off anyways. Might as well replace it with the updated valve cover. So let's get the old one off, and then we'll compare that one with the new one. These are like the easiest valve covers you can take off. I just start by unplugging your main harness for your coils. I pull the wires off the coils and let them hang on the spark plugs. And then we've got just that clip there for your little harness there. Another one on this side. There, got that one. And then you've got some 10 millimeters nuts here. You gotta, that one goes underneath that to keep it from rubbing. So we got some 10 mils, and then we can pull this whole bracket and coil assembly off together. Easy peasy. Take that off. Just like that. This whole thing is just gonna come off together like that. Just lay that up there. And then our valve cover bolts, got 4 of them. Gonna have your PCV hose on the back here. You're gonna pull up, release that. Swap out our sockets here. Uh-oh, lost a bolt. At least I heard it hit the ground, so that's good. Come on now. Gasket stuck. Yeah, there we go. And we got her pulled off. Lost another one. So here's your close-up of the 2 valve covers. You can see where our crankcase vent hole is there. Over here we've got a little bit different design. It's kind of got these kind of tabs coming up, these deflector, little shield action going there, and it's kind of in a different location. Here we're more towards the middle, and over here we're like right on the other side of this bolt right here. So it's a matter of oil getting sprayed up into this hole and then getting sucked up through there, I believe, is basically what they're fixing here. So That's GM's fix. The engineers, you know, they're supposedly no better than anyone else, so we'll try it. And I know this thing looks not good. I do change my oil pretty regularly, so I'm kind of surprised to see this looking as black as it does. Always make sure you get your gasket surfaces wiped down real good, especially since we've been leaking here for a little while, so make sure this is nice and clean before we go back together with our new valve cover and gasket. So going back together here with my valve cover. I got her set on there. You're looking for 108 inch-pounds right there. Torque all these bolts down. If you don't have a torque wrench, not a huge deal. You can just snug them up, you know, just get on there, get it snug, and just give it a couple of these. Just, you know, you don't want to strip them out or anything, so not a huge deal. So we're gonna hook up our crankcase vent hose there. We're gonna get our coils back on here, get our bolts started back in there. Bolts don't have to be super tight. Don't want to break these off. Anything like that. Snug them up. Put our little clips back on there. Put that one in there so it doesn't rub. That one right there. Don't forget to hook up your wires. And then plug in your coils. I don't know what that was. Losing stuff. Easy peasy, not a bad job. This is one of the easier valve covers there are to remove and install. So there you have it, the GM 5.3 valve cover update performed on the 2010 Silverado. Hopefully this takes care of my poof of smoke in the morning every once in a while. I'm gonna pay attention and see. As far as oil consumption goes, I'm not gonna really calculate that yet because, I mean, I check my oil every so often because I do have a rear main leaking pretty good. I'm gonna have to address that in a future video, hopefully real soon, but I'm gonna have to dedicate a weekend to pulling the transmission out and changing that rear main and going back together and stuff. So I need to make sure I got enough time. But if I need to pull an all-nighter or something to do it, I mean, it is what it is. It's leaking pretty good. I gotta keep putting pizza boxes underneath my truck to absorb the oil. So like I said, if you're experiencing the poof of smoke or oil consumption, try this first. This is the easiest thing to try first if your vehicle falls under that TSB engine numbers and years and whatnot that I went over. So try that first. If that doesn't work, then you'll have to continue on. Just don't condemn the engine right away. You know, I would try this first before you assume you got a junk engine. So there you go. I'm gonna check it out, see what happens. I'll let you guys know in future videos if I notice any smoke anymore or not. But that's gonna do it for me in this video. Hope you guys found this useful and helpful. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next video.